I'm joined, as you said, today by Ivonne Kinser. She's the head of digital marketing and e-commerce for Avocados from Mexico. Ivonne, thanks for joining.
Hello, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. And jumping right in, Ivonne, I think I'd love for you to tell me more about your background and role at Avocados from Mexico. In particular, I'm curious because you didn't start out in the produce or CPG category. So I'm curious to hear more about your background and why you joined the team at Avocados from Mexico.
Sure. So I have been between brands and advertising agencies back and forth. I like both sides of the business. So I have been worked for advertising agencies like Lintas, McCann Erickson. On the brand side, I have worked for American Airlines. I have worked for technology startups and digital advertising agencies, Hagar Clothing. And then I was recruited in 2014 by Avocados from Mexico, completely different category. If you heard the categories I have named, transportation, airlines, fashion. And they called me from Avocados from Mexico. And, one of my questions during the interview with the CEO was, I want to make sure that why me? Because I have no experience whatsoever in the fresh products category. Some experience in CPG way back, long time ago with Lintas and Unilever. But then he said something that really, I said that it sealed the deal, because he said, look, I'm looking for someone with no experience in the category, but with a very good understanding of the digital space, technology, and someone who is very creative to help me do what nobody else have been done in the industry. And that really, that freedom and the vision for innovation was very, very appealing. So that's the story. And I have been there in Avocados from Mexico, overseeing everything in digital. It's from everything that happens in the small screen, from SEO, paid search, web development, all the way to more sophisticated areas like data and analytics and artificial intelligence connected to our CPP, etc. That's the story.
So do you want to tell me a little bit more about the history of Avocados from Mexico as a brand, and how you go about turning something like Avocados from Mexico into an e-commerce brand where you can go to the site and it's shoppable, recipes are shoppable, and then you can link to retailers and purchase avocados online?
Sure. We're in a very, very unique position. First of all, I want to say something that we say jokingly, but it's really true. That is, we're not from Mexico and we don't sell avocados. And the point is that we are a marketing company. We're the marketing arm of two organizations, the growers and exporters of avocados from Mexico in Mexico, and another organization that is importers, packers, and distributors of avocados from Mexico in the U.S. Those organizations came together and built the team that I'm part of, Avocados from Mexico. We're headquartered in Dallas, Texas, with two objectives: build a brand, Avocados from Mexico brand, because it's a brand in the U.S., and increase the demand of avocado from Mexico in the U.S. So we don't feed in the CPG space, although we have a lot of CPG people that come from CPG in our company, including our CEO. So we think like a CPG, but we are not, and we don't do marketing like the traditional fresh produce company. So we're in a very, very unique space. And we have that hunger, and it's in our DNA to innovate. So we have been doing, basically blazing the trail in the category. The first thing that we did a couple of years ago was to make all our recipes in our website shoppable. And that was our way to do e-commerce, to start into e-commerce, making our platforms a bridge between our visitors to our platforms and the retailers. We have over 90% of market share. So over 90% of the avocados consumed in the US are avocado from Mexico. So as you can imagine, we are in every retailer, grocery retailer. So we took over our platforms to become that bridge from inspiration to the purchase of avocados. And that was just the first step. And this year, and it was a good thing because it was before COVID, we started building a more robust e-commerce capabilities. And then COVID happened and we were in the middle of that. So what it did is it accelerated the what we had already started. And right now, we work with that consultant company for a couple of months, and we have a shop page, which is avocado from Mexico/shop. And that is, it's just getting all the traffic coming from the multiple areas within our website that we call inspiration areas, and then move those shoppers closer to the shopping cart within their preferred retailer. So with this, we serve our consumers because we bring everything to where they are, but we also push the transactions and the increase of avocado consumption, which is one of our two main goals.
Nice. And how do you measure success in these campaigns? Since you don't always have direct insight into what's happening at the retailer, what are ways that you look at your e-commerce efforts and say, this made a difference, this campaign was successful?
Yeah, that's a great point, because as you say, we don't have sales data visibility, and we're unable to have full attribution from A to Z in our campaign. So the last point that we have visibility, it is when we put where the consumer put the product in the cart. So that's one metric of success. Products in cart is one metric of success. So the good thing is that, as those the retailers, at least the most advanced retailers we partner with in the brick and mortar, they have this technology called persistent cart, that once we accomplish that action of putting the product in the cart, even if the consumer leaves our website and close the browser, go somewhere else, and come back tomorrow directly to the retailer page, not through us, but directly through the retailer page, those avocados that they put in the cart through us yesterday, 2 days ago, they are still there. So unless they are manually removed, those are very likely to end in a transaction.
Got it. What barriers do you think there are for consumers to, purchasing avocados through e-commerce, or something like avocados, or quite frankly, any kind of fresh produce? I'm curious how you overcome that and what types of education you may have done to help inform the consumer about it.
Sure. That's interesting, because the same barriers that we have offline in our category and with our product, they magnify when we go to e-commerce. We have identified through research that the main barrier for consumption is the lack of avocado education. And that, for example, how do I know how to pick the right avocado? How I speed of ripening if I'm buying avocados today and they are green, by my event or my meal that I want to prepare is tomorrow. How I slow down ripening if the avocados are almost ready, but my event or when I want to prepare that meal is next week. So those are barriers. It doesn't matter how they purchase the avocados. Now, when we go to e-commerce and when we take that offline, then those magnify, because now it's not you selecting your own avocados, but it's a shopper. It's someone in the store or someone through one of the shopping platforms selecting the products for you. So that is, consumers are very, very reluctant to give their fresh produce shopping to someone else. So we have to do a really good job about, in parallel, making sure that we reach out to that consumers with our education message. This is how you pick the right avocado. This is how you slow down ripening. We have done great advances. For example, we were the first fresh produce company to launch a chatbot, and the chatbot was our way to be there in the store with our consumer when they are making that decision. So we partnered with Walmart, and Walmart had in the stores the first half of the conversation, which was, text this number if you want to learn how to pick your avocados. When the consumer texts the number, then they will receive a link. The link will take them to our chatbot, and then we will take them by the hand throughout the purchase experience.
Cool. You mentioned Walmart. So I'm curious, which particular retail channels have been most successful for you for e-commerce, or any kind of examples of activations like that you were able to do through particular retailers that have been particularly successful for the brand. I think would be great to hear about.
Sure. Definitely, in this space, like any other space, any other industry, there's players that are more mature in this space. Walmart is definitely one of them. If you see the things that Walmart is doing aside of us, right? They now have you have instant checking the products as you go shopping and that sort of thing. So they are advanced, and they are also eager to advance. So speaking about what are the things that we have done with Walmart, we came to Walmart with another partner, because we want a technology partner to optimize the avocado page within Walmart. We realized that there's a huge potential, in terms of how shoppers are searching for the products they want to buy. They search, they browse. There's a certain behavior, and there's certain keywords specifically that were really very relevant to our product, but we didn't necessarily have those keywords in our landing page. So we came with this technology partner to optimize our content and to optimize the images that we have in the product page to make a better experience and the page more visible. So it took us like 6 months to present these to the right stakeholders within Walmart, but once they understood what we wanted to do, they embraced it and they make it happen. They made it happen, and that made us the first produce company in the history of Walmart on having a customized product page within their platform. So in a matter of 6 months, we increased the visibility of our page in 212%. Again, blazing trails in the industry. After that, Walmart talked to other fresh produce companies and asked them to come and talk to us so we can take them through the processes, because it was such a successful initiative that they wanted to replicate that with other brands as well within our category.
Nice. That's amazing. Is Walmart also your biggest sales channel for e-commerce, or, is Amazon bigger? What do you guys see in terms of volume?
We're right now, Walmart is definitely at the top. We're right now we just launched, I will say, a couple of months ago, 3 months ago, our full e-commerce initiative. We did that research. Again, Walmart definitely at the top, and our shopper team had great relationship with Walmart. And like I said before, they are eager to let us try and innovate within their platform in terms of sales. Yeah, for sure.
Nice. So switching gears a little bit, I'm a little bit curious, as you've built this e-commerce brand for, a produce product, what kind of other brands did you look up to or try to emulate as you were building out this capability?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question for me being in this category with this product, because like I said at the beginning, really, we cannot look up to anyone and just copy. We cannot say we're doing what Procter is doing, or we're doing what any other CPG is doing, because we don't even have a package to start with. We cannot track attribution. if we don't do what the traditional fresh products marketing. So we're in some spot in between that we have to, I wouldn't say reinvent because it hasn't been invented. We have to invent ourselves within the e-commerce and digital space. And we have done, a really good job at discovering, testing, learning, experimenting, and launching very successful approaches that are very, very unique to us as a brand product, building a brand in a brandless category, without a package, but playing in the same sandbox as other CPG brands. So that's what makes what we do so innovative. So when you ask me who I look after, for to come up with ideas, I really don't look at the brands or other brands. I look at technology partners like yourself. Nobody knows the platforms better than you guys. Nobody knows where the technology is going better than the people that is in that ecosystem of marketing technology ecosystem. So I really relied on our technology partners to understand the space and come up with solutions that nobody had put together before. Whether it's because using those same technologies that CPG are using, but bring them into the fresh products industry, or even combining two technologies that haven't been combined before. But it's crucial for us to really get familiar with the marketing technology ecosystem, especially around e-commerce, to execute the unique platforms that we execute and we bring to the table.
Right, absolutely, totally makes sense. At Blis, we work with a lot of CPG companies, and we're always helping our partners with marketing innovation or innovative ways to capture someone's attention, in terms of driving them to store or adding something to cart. So, coming from, a location-powered advertising and analytics partner, I'm kind of curious how data plays into your overall strategy. Both, first-party data, that you're going to have from your own customers and what data you have there, and then marrying that with, other third-party data that's available in the market, potentially from people like Blis or, IRI, Catalina, et cetera.
Yeah, so I can speak from the digital space, right, which is the area that I oversee. So data, more important than ever, and it's going to become more and more important every day. We're not talking anymore about just data at this point. We're talking about real-time data. So it's getting more and more sophisticated by the day. We started building our data ecosystem with a consumer data platform powered by artificial intelligence, machine learning, predictive capabilities, and all that about 2 years ago. It's not easy, it's not cheap, and it takes a lot of resources, time, energy, but it's something that is not even an option in today's world. We started 2 years ago. We still have a long to go, but as we all know in the industry, by 2022 we're going to live in a cookie-less world, and there's just no option but building our first-party data. So it has become so important that we're already seeing the difference, because we're building these capabilities and we're learning from it as the machine learns. We're A/B testing a lot. So the last A/B testing the latest A/B testing that we did is when we really start seeing the maturity of the platform and how our machine have actually learned from our consumers. And we're seeing differences, like let's say A is third-party data from our media partners, and and B is our first-party data. So when we compare, let's say, engagement, we have seen differences from 14% engagement rate with the third-party data and 65% engagement rate with our first-party data. So that's really something we have been working. This didn't happen overnight, right? We have been working and optimizing, working with our media agency and our data partner on getting into this point. We have over 80 million users IDs in our platform right now. But again, it's just building that 360 view of each of those 80 million personas. That's definitely our goal right now and our priority in a long term.
Yeah, 80 million sounds like an impressive number for a, fresh produce company, especially in terms of, first party data in an environment where typically brands that are sold at grocery or big box don't have a ton of data on their customers. So I think that 80 million number is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it has been definitely a priority, and the good thing, and I think that really our success in this area has been that we have very, very strong support from our CEO. He really believes in the power of data, and he really is a visionary, and he's seeing how there's no on earth a more valuable currency right now than data. So if we can offer, it gives you other things that are really valuable. That allow brands to have a more consumer-centric approach, very personalized approach with the consumer. So that asset is giving you the power to serve your consumer better, but also our partners. We partner on the food service side with food operators. We partner on the retail side with retailers. So building this knowledge of our consumers is very, very, very valuable for us, for our consumers, and for our partners. And our CEO has, support that 100% from the beginning.
Great. Yeah. So I think, you can have all, the data in place. And I think this has been just such an unusual year. It goes without saying. So I'm curious, using all the tactics that you had in place, how 2020 looked going into the year and how you kind of shifted strategy as the COVID-19 pandemic started to adjust and basically refocus your digital marketing goals.
Yeah, that takes me to another very interesting topic, which is the agility that companies need to have today to thrive. I will say even to survive in today's world. It's very close to the data conversation because you need to move fast, and to move fast, you need to make decisions super fast. You cannot wait a month until some results come to know what you're going to do. So the proof, and I think the industry was tested when all this happened. Tested you how fast can you move, how quick can you make decisions, how much data you have to pivot and still make sense of what you're doing. So it happens to us right. We had a Cinco de Mayo campaign ready, which is our second largest campaign of the year after the Super Bowl. And we have that campaign ready with a TV spot and everything that we had produced the previous year. Really bad luck that the background or, of the TV spot happened in a hospital. So as you can imagine, it was like not a good idea come up with that. People in a hospital celebrating Cinco de Mayo. It will, definitely we didn't see that coming. Nobody saw that coming when we were planning that. But as I heard one time to someone, the things that we built before COVID was built for a world that no longer exists. So when you have new realities, you have to come up with new ideas and new approaches. And we have literally 9 days. We scrapped the TV spot and the campaign. We start from zero and start building 9 days to come up with an idea, build the platform, build the assets, buy the media, plan the media, and launch a campaign. So we plan to launch a campaign called Homemade Homemade Cinco. And we encourage consumers in their homes to make a guacamole with their immediate family, whomever you're quarantining with, and share that on social media. To make a long story short, most successful campaign in the history of Avocado from Mexico. Even beyond the Super Bowl, we end up delivering 5.6 billion with B social impressions. The max we had delivered with the Super Bowl is 4.5 billion. So even our strongest campaign, this one was widely successful, and it was because of that we kind of took a consumer-centric approach and based our ideas and the interactions is in what was the reality of our consumers and at that specific moment in time and situation.
Yeah, that's incredible. In terms of sales, how do you think this campaign affected sales? Did you see it go up, down, stay steady? I'm curious to hear more about, what that has looked like during this year.
So I can tell you, for example, in the platforms that I manage, and I was looking some very, very interesting numbers the other day. First of all, our sales hasn't suffered. So we have done really, really good with sales. In terms of the engagement and the interest, the purchase intention, for example, I was looking at some charts from Google Trends not long ago, and you can say that when you look in a period of 5 years and the interest for homemade guacamole really, really spike during that specific time around the Cinco de Mayo. So when you have a digital campaign, we're looking at Google Trends, so we're seeing the purchase intention online or at least the activity online. So when you have a campaign that in a short period of time delivers 5.6 billion impressions, definitely we don't have attribution, again, direct attribution, but you can say that it definitely made an impact. And the amount of content shared by users, not by us, by users, of their guacamole was pretty significant, and that is come after obviously the sales. When you look at the numbers and see that our sales definitely didn't suffer through this period, then we and of course this is not the only thing. The most efforts were done by the shopper team in the stores, but today is a combination. One of the biggest, I could say, changes or the marketers is very eye-opening and how things are going to move is that combination between digital and brick and mortar. Definitely, it's not one or the other one. It's the combination of both that makes very, very strong strategies and activations.
Nice. So we talked a little bit about, football and that being kind of your biggest season around Super Bowl. Avocados from Mexico has traditionally done Super Bowl ads. So I'm just kind of curious how that has changed this year in the absence of tailgating and necessarily, encouraging people to, host viewing parties for, Sunday Night Football or the Super Bowl. How has that affected your marketing strategy through this, season, which is typically, very high, it would be, probably one of the biggest seasons for avocados?
Sure. So, first of all, and it's already known that we're taking a break from the TV Super Bowl this year, but we are still launching a very robust digital campaign and shopper activation. So there's no one taking guacamole to the party, right? But there's still the opportunity for consumers to make their own guacamoles at home when they watch the game. And I bringing back the example of homemade Cinco. So we are appealing to that and taking that opportunity. And our campaigns, which is different from previous year, when we launch a campaign at the end of January, we're launching this year in January 4th. So that will give us almost a whole month to get the consumers excited about going to the grocery store, getting, adding avocados to their list and have avocados always ready for the watch their games in their homes with their immediate family. So it's kind of the same dynamic that we did with Cinco, and we still think that it's a great opportunity. Throughout the years, we have seen that avocado have become a staple in the American table. That year doesn't have to be an exception. We, of course, are not going to encourage our consumers to go out and celebrate, but we will encourage them to get their avocados, whether it is, online or in the stores, and keep the tradition, keep the guacamole on the table when they are watching the game.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, that totally makes sense. I think kind of in this climate, or really any climate, like, who do you see as being a competitor to avocados? Do you think it's, avocados for different countries, or is it things that could even be considered in different categories?
Yeah, so we definitely don't see avocado from other countries as a competitor. When you have over 90% of the market share, when additionally we're the only avocados on earth that are available all year round. And that's because the conditions of the Michoacan, the soil and the climate, and we're not seasonal, other origins are. But when we the second objective that I mentioned at the beginning, that is to increase the consumption of avocados, is the consumption of avocados, period. So as a leaders in the category, our responsibility is, and also what we really want to do is to push the category, the category. And with that, we bring our avocados from other origins. We are all under one umbrella, which is the Has Avocado, and we definitely, if we expand the market, we all win. The consumer win, any origin wins, and avocado from Mexico wins, of course.
Nice. So one more question, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the Q&A from the audience. But we talked a little bit about Super Bowl the beginning of the year. So how does the rest of 2021 look right now from a marketing standpoint, and what are your overall goals for 2021 and beyond?
Yeah, so our plan, we pivot in regards to our messages, but we're a very active brand, and we continue to be an active brand. We're very disciplined with the message that we communicate. Are part of our strategy, and is health and wellness is one of the major consumption drivers. Is very limited ingredients out there have the number of health benefits that avocado offers. So that's one very strong pillar. Education, as we talked before. And then, of course, building the Avocados from Mexico brand, which is a really hard work that our brand team has to do, because it's an origin, but it's also a brand. So our messages are going to stay where supporting the consumer by, this is something that we did, that, it's not in our portfolio, but it's a message that the consumer needs to hear, which is, wash your hands, wash your fruits and vegetables. We use our media to thank the first responders. So we're really getting very kind of aligned with what are the sentiments of our consumers. And just being, stay and stick with our main messages. For next year, we will continue to work and make our first-party data stronger, not necessarily to acquiring more users ID. We think that we have the consumer demographic and the consumer target group that we have, and that's who we want to talk to. But it's making those profiles richer and richer and richer, learning more from them and about them, so we can serve them better.
Nice. Yeah, that makes sense. And there's actually a great follow-up question from the audience that I think really ties in well to that. It says, when it comes to communicating with your consumers, how do you think about brand purpose, and how does that impact your approach to marketing?
Yeah, so that would be a better question for the brand team. but they are very in tune with what is the brand purpose, what is the brand purpose of the organization, what our products stand behind, what it means, other than we don't want to be a commodity, while we're trying to build a brand. So definitely brand purpose is at the one of the top priorities of our brand team, and they embed that message and that purpose within any of the advertisings that they do to support and build that brand.
Right. What do you see as the biggest future challenge to retail and e-commerce, and what is the biggest opportunity?
I think some of the challenges are the same that are the opportunities, right? And I will say, for example, the technology, they're going to come into the market and into the marketing ecosystem a lot of new technologies, and now marketers have a bigger challenge, which is getting to know each of those new technologies and how to use those for the benefit of the brand, the consumers, etc. On the other hand, it's also a huge opportunity. So I remember it was a couple of months ago or whatever, but when everything started happening with COVID, I had several calls with large technology partners, and they did a lot of, wouldn't say a traditional focus group, but they call it happy hour, whatever. But it was to pick our brains of brands, like what are you needing? What are you moving forward? How are you pivoting? So all that, they took it to the drawing table and are coming over, working right now as we're speaking with new solutions. And that's great, because there's, I read the other day, the greatest transformation are preceded by chaos. We are in chaos right now. But as an optimistic as I am, I know that we are headed into one of the greatest transformations that our industry has seen in decades. And that is all coming and taking shape right now. And that is fascinating. Hopefully we get out of this situation very, very soon. There's a lot of people suffering, and that's really sad. But I think that what we're going to have after will be pretty amazing in the most positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're seeing not just from, the food, produce, or CPG space innovation, but kind of innovation, across the board that's coming out of this chaos. And I think it's really going to be interesting to see kind of like over time, the change that is essentially is really accelerated.
Absolutely.
Another question from the audience. Does Avocados from Mexico ever approach marketing from a partner standpoint? And have you seen any success there? I'm guessing that kind of like borders a little bit into shopper marketing, but curious to hear your thoughts around that.
Yeah, we work a lot with partners. We actually have in our homepage, in somewhere in our homepage, around the middle, you can go to area called the Salad Hub. That's a 100% partnership activation. So shopper team partners with another fresh produce company, another CPG brands, and it's a hub where everything is about salads, and then you combine the ingredients of all the partners. So, and again, that's in the shopper teams area, but they are very, very much into partnership, and that's in the shopper area again. But then in other areas, yeah, we believe in partnership. I think that business are greater with partners, and it's a very very beneficial thing to do in marketing in any industry or category.
Yeah, and then just one more question I think that I have, coming from, this is actually, sorry, from the Q&A, for probably a little bit of a carryover from the last panel where everyone was chatting about influencers. How have you incorporated influencers into your e-commerce and marketing strategy?
Many ways. We have worked with high-profile influencers, call it celebrities. We have worked with mid-size influencers, and we work a lot with micro and nano influencers. We call it brand ambassadors. We have over 100,000 brand ambassadors that we have been recruiting throughout the years, and we manage them through a tech platform that we lease. But that have been our best ally when we want to amplify a specific message within a specific campaign. So we launch activation with them. We launch have a leaderboard, so we reward those who are more engaged with our brand, and it has really have been a very successful tactic for us throughout the years. And then celebrities and high-profile influencers whenever the time comes, but it's high-profile campaigns. Right now, we're launching a new platform with personalized videos that kind of let's call it the Netflix of the avocado, where consumers will come and watch the avocado video content, but exactly what they want to watch according to their preferences. So we're working with some influencers to produce content for that.
Nice. Yeah, I think with that, I think that really kind of wraps it up for our panel this morning, or this afternoon rather. So I appreciate you joining us, and thanks to Brand Innovators. I think we learned a lot, and it was great to hear about some of the successes that you've had this year in building the brand throughout 2020.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brand Innovators, for inviting me.
All right. Thank you, Ivonne and Nate, for joining us today. Hi, everybody.